Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King. I believe I did a premise similar to this a long time ago, but after some time, I had got this idea with a different premise that I found truly interesting. Forgot the name that was on the idea, but you know yourself. Thank you very much. So here it is, guys. This will be a tale of forbidden love, leading into dark temptations. What if Naruto was Minato and Mikoto's child, raised in secret, not within the village? As we take many twists and many turns, leading to something very, dark in many different ways. Well, if you like to see part 2, just go ahead, comment down below and tell me, and I'll be posting it as soon as possible. So yeah, without further ado, or wasting any more time, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's begin now, guys. Our story begins in a room. The room reeks of sweat, smoke and blood. Dim light flicker across the walls, casting shadows all over. As a boy, no older than 16 years old, was tied to a cold, steel chair, fully strapped down. Legs, arms, torso, all bind together. There were wires attached to him, around his arms and chest. And every few moments there was a surge of electricity coursing through him violently. You could smell it in the very air itself. Across from him sat two men. One grinned sadistically as he twisted the dial on the generator. His name was Gateau. Broad shoulders, looking like someone that has strangled a few people in his time. He smirked as the electricity fried the young man. Beside him was his younger brother. Younger brother looking as big as him, maybe a bit bigger. His name was Gateau, as he had a sword in his hand. But he could not pull it from its sheath. He tried, he even banged it against the ground, but it simply would not release. Finally, they heard him approaching. Opening up the door that was there was two men. Stepping aside, others were there in the background. Their father boys, ready to move at his words. He was tall. The family was special in many different ways. Their money, their resources, everything that they had, gathered in unspeakable ways. They got the height. Even the father was really tall. But the family had another, who was extremely short. It just shows how genetics work in many different ways. The father was Gateau. Despite not possessing any special trait, any special ability, he carried this presence of authority. No one knew about him. They were secrets, unlike the other, the middle child that was always trying to prove himself. He didn't even go by his first name. He go by the last. It was Gateau, in charge of a massive company. In the day, people saw him as a shipping magnate, but in the night he was just like his family. The Gateau family was powerful, yes, passed down from many lines, controlling what dwell within the dark. Even some major village used them to get resources that aren't capable of receiving, or time shortage. Their father had come personally, because this was not just another job. This boy has cost them too much. Roku smirked as he cranked the power up once again, grinning as he did so. You don't look so clever now, brat. How does it feel knowing that you ruined everything, but you're going to die, tied to a chair? Pretty pathetic, isn't it? The boy, his head was hanging low, until a laugh suddenly escaped him. It was low at first, broken, then the laugh became sharp. Almost, no, it was definitely mocking. You know, he said. He slowly lifted up his head, blood dripping down. He was smiling. It's funny. Catching a mouse, it isn't about chasing it. Daigo sneered. What the hell are you rambling about, he questioned. A mouse, it runs away when it's hunted. It hides. No, the smart way is to set a trap. Give it what it thinks it deserves. That way, the mouse will walk directly into your hand. He leaned forward, his voice filled with confidence. And the best trap for people like you was to destroy your source of money, breaking your empire, making you crawl out of your hole. Because I have to give it to you guys, you were pretty hard to find. But I'm here to give you what you deserve. Your death. That was the bait. Roku snarled, his brother shouting, "You're bluffing. We caught you," he shouted at him. Oh, did you? Or did I let you catch me? Kazuma's eyes widened as he looked towards his sons. He shouted at his guards. Guards, inside! Now, he shouted out. The other two, reaching for their weapons. The heavy doors burst open as armed men rushed in, but it was already too late for all of them. The bindings that held him snapped, breaking under restraint. His movements were a blur. It was Daigo that was first. A boot crushed into his face, staggering him as blood flew out, nose and mouth. He gripped his blade. Roku was next. The hilt of the blade crushed into his skull. He staggered, seemingly mindless, unable to even properly think. The young man then gripped onto the handle and turned the blade. It seemed to glow for a brief second as he pulled it from its sheath. He used the flat end to knock him inside of the head, grabbing the back of his skull as he slammed him down, right on the machine. He then proceeded to crank it to 100%. Roku screamed as the guards launched their weapons. The young man smiled and blitzed away. He moved through the crowd like a demon. Their father, enraged, seeing what happened to his sons, unfortunately though he had to flee, his two personal guards guiding him. They shut the steel door as they ran with him. The man was angry. He wanted that thing dead. Hello there. They froze. That's not possible. There was more than 10 plus guys there. There was no way that he could do that and beat them here. They found themselves stunned. But there was no one standing there. They looked around as a voice kept on coming. Suddenly, he saw him appear. He grabbed his blade and drive it through him. I got him, boss. He was stunned as he saw that he stabbed his own partner. Only for his partner to use his last remaining strength and bring his weapon down into his head. Kazuma fell down to the ground when he saw him, but it was his eyes. They were basically bleeding red. The three tomos slowly spinning inside of them. Wait, I have... Shh. He placed a finger to his lips. Kazuma noticed not even a scratch was on him from the earlier session. There is nothing that you can offer me, except for information. Maybe I'll let you live if you give me that information. What I want is your son. Not them. The other one, the middle child, Gateau. So he's behind this. He's the reason why you're doing this. Well, I know that he's separate from your family. You guys treat him badly. He doesn't really like the family business. Ventured out on his own. However, his people, they got involved with a few of my interests. I was told personally that he was the one that ordered the hit. But he's smart enough to not tell everyone where he's hiding. But you, on the other hand, I heard how much you watch him. I heard how much you absorb his growth. So tell me, which one do you prefer? Your life or his? Kazuma did not hesitate to sell Gateau out. He loved the other two more, but there was nothing that he could do against this monster in front of him. I know where he is. I'll tell you if you truly let me go. My word is my honor. He said sheath in the blade. Fine. He's hunkered down. There's a lot of heat on his head right now. He's in the land of wave. He doesn't even know that this is going on. Or that you're after him. Well, I guess he's not that smart. Neither are you. Wait, you said you would let me go? Come on. Look at the kind of things that you do. Do you really think I'll keep my word? Before he could speak, the blood gushed out of his throat. His life ending right there and then. He raised the blade and cut through, the steel pipe leaping out, making his way back to the surface. As the moonlight illuminated the place, we were greeted by blonde spiky hair, gazing up towards the heavens. Dark eyes, reflecting back at the moon. His name was Naruto Oda. And in this world, his very existence was a game changer to everyone. Time skip. It was an offhanded comment, as the organization that he was with, they did some business with the Gateau family. It was so secretive that many did not even know that there was a father or two other brothers. They believed that Gateau's name was actually Gateau, but it was not such. It was just a family name. He used it as a rebellion way to show them that he could make something of himself, something greater than they ever expected. At the moment, Itachi Uchiha was watching the heavens. He was calm, observing the stars flickering through the sky. He knew who was behind this. His brother, his younger brother. It all started that night when he learned the truth. Flashback. Itachi Uchiha was struggling as his father said his piece. His father understanding, but his mother, when she looked into his eyes, Itachi was shocked as her eyes activated. His mother was once a ninja, but she put that life aside to become a mother, to raise them. Itachi found himself alone with her. He believed that she will try to convince him to stop this, but that wasn't her desire. She was already crying. I know that this will come as a surprise. I know that you might hate me for what I'm about to say, she said, gazing into his eyes. Despite what he was doing, Itachi could never hate her. She stepped towards him and embraced him. as she whispered in his ear, "You have another brother." She whispered a location to him. Itachi was stunned. "I've made many mistakes in the past," she said to him. "A part of me believes I deserve this for what I've done." He was about to say something, but she stopped him. "Please, make sure that he's okay." That was all she said, as he was brought back to reality. For Fukaku to know this in his final moments would sure be torture, so nothing was said. Itachi took them down. He left that night, leaving Sasuke with so much questions. The location that he visited after he met up with the masked man, it was a secret location. Itachi found it underground, away from Konoha. This location was held by the fourth Hokage. That is where Itachi found documents, many information. He was stunned. However, he also found the medical report about what happened to the child when he was born. When he was born, there was a 90% chance that he would not make it. Itachi read through the files, stunned at what he was reading. Unable to believe all of this happened, and he wasn't even aware of it. He did not know one bit. As we dive deeper within the flashback. It started when they were much younger. They met at an early age. Minato Namikaze and Mikoto Uchiha. They were friends before even joining the academy. Best of friends. As time passed by, the both of them developed feelings for one another. Unfortunately though, her life was already set. Yes, her life was already set. Clan tradition, the clan pride. Her life was set, and there was nothing that could be changed about that. So they forgot about each other. They move on. Being with different people. Him with Kushina, she with Fukaku Uchiha. However, when Itachi was 2 years old, something happened. Seeing how he wanted to raise Itachi, as Mikoto just wanted Itachi to live a normal childhood, with everything growing so tense in the clan. There was a lot of arguments, a lot of problems between her and Fukaku. One fight led to another. One opening up led to another opening up. It was rocky there, really rocky. One night, it was Minato that found her. At their usual spot that they used to meet up when they were younger. He simply went there to clear his mind about everything. Being on the battlefield, the Third Great Shinobi War. By that time he was with Kushina. However, they talked a lot that night. And they visited again over and over. Deep down, despite not doing anything, the both of them knew that it was wrong. But they couldn't help it. And then the unspeakable happened. One night lying down observing the heavens. Their hands touch. Their gaze fixated on one another. They draw closer. A kiss. Immediately, she ran away, refusing what she just did. Kushina was her best friend. Minato was silent. They did not talk for weeks, until the both of them found themselves drawn to the spot once again, saying that this was a mistake and it was going to bury with them. But they couldn't help themselves. They should have stopped visit from the moment that happened, but they did not. Lingers turned into deep connection. They found themselves feeling ashamed, disgusted by themselves. There was no problem between him and Kushina. Minato was a nice guy. At least that is what he told himself. Mikoto, despite what was going on in her marriage, she didn't want this. That is what she told herself, but neither of them stopped visiting. It became more frequent. Bonds were broken. Borders were stepped upon. It became more frequent until they found out she was with child. With everything going on between her and Fukaku, it wasn't his. Their thought was immediate. They had to get rid of the child. However, when she met him again, she didn't want that. She couldn't bring herself to do that. It wasn't the child's fault. He tried to tell her no. He tried to make her understand. But she was going to keep him a secret, away from everyone else. Minato had no choice, found himself into a corner. From that moment on, she found reasons to be angry at Fukaku so that he wouldn't touch her, so that he wouldn't get close. Minato stepped up as they used seals to hide the pregnancy. But it did show sometimes on the outside, but she was good at acting. Even as Fukaku tried. For a moment there he believed their marriage would be over, but it wasn't. She had the child outside the village. But something went wrong. Maybe it was the seals. Maybe it was something else. The child was not born healthy at all. There was a 90% chance that he would die. However, Minato ensured that he would not, by going to the extreme levels. Seeing their child, the both of them knew that if the secret was to come out, everything would be ruined. So they took him. They brought him away from the village. And they gave him up to a lovely couple that they did not even know. They went through many different agencies to understand. They watch people, they observe, they get to know them. In secret, in disguise. When the adoption finally went through, the couple was so happy. More than enough time Minato flashed out there to visit, to observe. Watching his son grow. There was only one request with the adoption. To name him Naruto. Minato believed that it was a strong, powerful name. Maelstrom. And from Jiraiya's book, his favorite one that he read. They agreed to the terms. They named him Naruto, but they gave him their last name, Oda. Naruto Oda. And thus, away from the village, away from prying eyes, the boy will be. Minato went through great lengths to seal away his heritage, to ensure that he will live a normal life, because he could not be a part of theirs. Their mistake led to a wonderful life, but it couldn't happen again. They stopped talking. It was for the best. Both of them think of themselves as monsters. It was for the best. Perhaps it was guilt. Perhaps she just wanted to apologize to Fukaku in different ways. Sometime after, Sasuke Uchiha was born. A few years after, Sasuke Uchiha was brought into the world, and Fukaku was happy that everything was back together. And thus was the story, how Naruto Oda came into the world. Itachi Uchiha not knowing of this, but he did know who the father was. He found the notes. He found out what they did to Naruto that night to make him survive. Itachi left. Unfortunately though, when he got to the adoptive location, the house was gone. After gathering some rumors around, he learned that the house was burned down. The family was killed in a skirmish. The child, everyone had died. Itachi was shocked. He would never get to meet him. But a part of him believed that his brother was out there somewhere. He didn't know why. It wasn't until years later Itachi came across a young boy while him and Kisame was on a mission. He tried to steal the artifact that they had stolen for a client. However, under the mask, through the eye holes Itachi saw, his eyes. Kisame would have killed him. He was young, yet his skills were unusually refined. He failed, but it didn't take long for Itachi to find him. Itachi questioned him. There was no trust in the beginning. You know who I am? Itachi said, as Naruto stood there. You're the one I tried to steal from some time ago. Ah, you remember me. I do remember my enemy faces. So I'm your enemy. Given the fact that you're here, you're going to try and kill me, are you not? And you know what I look like. Yes, I do. Naruto narrowed his eyes, noticing something strange. So what do you want? Kill or talk? Try not to waste my time. Tell me something, Itachi said. Were your parents the Odas? Immediately, Naruto gripped tight around the blade. How do you know that? Who the hell are you? That is not important. I ask you a question. Who are you? Itachi's eyes met with his as his Sharingan activate. Subconsciously, it seems. Itachi gripped his head, questioning what the hell was going on as he fell down to his knees. Their eyes still locking together. Itachi couldn't understand. What is this? As he gazed into Naruto's Sharingan. Despite so young, fully utilized, fully mature, the three totems peering into his own eyes. This was Itachi Uchiha, and something like this was not common. However, when Itachi found himself walking through a veil of darkness, the next thing he saw was himself. Some time ago, reading the note, he then saw himself again with his mother talking. Itachi felt the sensation as he turned and saw Naruto standing there behind him. He was stunned. Everything seemed to return back to normal, but Naruto's eyes were filled with hate. As Itachi questioned how did you? Naruto lashed out at him. It was on that day that Itachi learned that Naruto was something else. He possessed a strange talent that was even greater than himself. Itachi won, of course, but Naruto was young and yet eyes fully developed, skills extreme. Naruto was angry at him. He knew the truth, not just about his origins, but about everything else. And Naruto was angry that he chose the village over his own family. Itachi had to restrain Naruto. End of flashback. As the Uchiha stood, observing the heavens. That was a very long time ago. He was worried that he would have to take Naruto down. On that night, Naruto wasn't like the Hokage. He wasn't like Mikoto. This world had raised him. The family that he was brought into, they were stripped away from him. When he was a mere boy, he watched them die. He survived by running away. Itachi learned this over the years. He called himself a coward for the longest time. Before Itachi even met him, he's been through so much. He was captured, tortured, sold off. The world was a very cruel place for a young man that doesn't have a home, an identity. For the longest time he believed that the Odas were his actual parents. Meeting Itachi confirmed that they were not. But it did not change much other than him being angry at Itachi and wanted him dead because he killed his real mother. They sat down and they talked, well, mostly Itachi talked. It was the first time in a very long while that Itachi was able to actually open up to someone. He opened up to Naruto, trying to make him understand. He was shocked by Naruto's maturity at that age. However, this meant something. Naruto could never truly meet his brother and sister. Even now, that secret was meant to be buried with his mother and Minato, but it was not. And Itachi wanted to respect that. But asking Naruto to do the same was difficult. However, the world had changed him in ways that Itachi wasn't prepared for. He understood. And for the past couple of years, he's been doing well at staying away. Despite knowing who he was, despite knowing that his home was back there, Itachi was afraid of everyone finding out. In the beginning, where Naruto attacked him, he believed that he would spill the truth. His words had been twisted, questioning if the people would even accept him, learning that he was born from an affair, from a depravity. Itachi felt horrible what he was doing, but he couldn't allow anyone to know the truth. He couldn't allow Naruto to lose control and go after the Hokage and the elders, despite Hiruzen having nothing to do with it. But he saw the look in Naruto's eyes. But that wasn't the most scariest part though. It was the eyes that he possessed. Itachi couldn't believe it at first, but somehow Naruto was able to cast. It has to be some sort of upgraded sense of illusion, again jutsu that he's never come across before, but he was able to pierce the veil, get by his defenses, get by his own eyes. Despite not using the Mangekyou, Itachi still had a very powerful set of Sharingan, and yet Naruto pierced through them and get into his memories. Itachi did not even know, not even Naruto knew how his eyes developed this way. He never spoke of any other triggers or events that push him, for him to awaken the three-totem Sharingan. But Naruto was indeed special. As Itachi was reminded, flashback. As Itachi read the notes, he could only imagine what they were going through. 3 doctors, highly qualified specialists. Minato and Namikaze stood there. There was breathing tubes. There was machines all over. On the one child, Mikoto, she was exhausted but refused to sleep until she knew that he was better. All options seemed to be exhausted. He had no choice. He had to do something. Conventional healing would not help. He had an idea though, but he needed someone who specialized in this area. Thus he went away. When Minato returned, he wasn't alone. But it wasn't only the person though. It was what they represent. As she stood there, she was pissed. Very much so. But as she looked down towards the child, she placed on her clothing, sterilizing everything. "Get me the cells," she said to him. Minato could see the look in her eyes, the disgust, the anger. She looked at them both the same way. As Tsunade Senju got to work, it was a long shot, but they applied it. This concerned her more than anything else now, because what they gave Naruto to help him was not any normal cells, but the cells of the first Hokage. Remains that were isolated and kept by the Hokages as they passed down, including DNAs of each past Hokages. There was a program in the past that they tried to use to replicate the Mokiton, but they failed. And Minato had access to the cells of Hoshirama Senju. Tsunade Senju was a part of the operation. It took a lot to even convince her to return. However, once she was aware that the child was okay, her words were final. "Never contact me again." You disgust me, she said, speaking straight to the Hokage. While she and Kushina might not be close, her grandmother was fond of Kushina. To learn of this betrayal, however, she learned that they were going to give the child up. A thought came to her mind to take him, but instead she chose not to. But she was disgusted by them. At least this will make them leave her alone and never bother her. Minato had to make a difficult choice there. Another reason that solidified him, sending Naruto away to another family. Given the way Tsunade they react, imagine others. In the flashback, Minato had read the notes. They had kept everything detailed just in case future problem was to arise. So Naruto Oda was walking around with the first Hokage cells. However, it was what he had read. The cells had perfectly bonded to Naruto's body. It had bonded in ways that shouldn't be possible, but maybe it was because of them restricting his power to ensure that there wasn't going to be anything special. It allowed his body time to grow in different ways. Minato had checked up on him over the time, of course. He checked up on him a lot, as it was a couple of years until he had his own child. He checked up on Naruto a lot. Thus, he saw the changes. He wrote everything down, hoping that if anything went horribly wrong, they will have the way to fix it all, but everything was okay. Well, he died not knowing the truth of everything. Itachi though had been his eyes, without him even knowing that, as he kept watch over Naruto. However, someone that Naruto befriended got hurt. It was because of Gateau. The last time he saw Naruto, he saw the look in his eyes, that hateful glare, that rage. Itachi had told Naruto never to show what he can truly do, never make the world truly realize who he was. There were rumors about the red-eyed demon that struck in the night, slitting throats, beheading individuals. A new threat, many called him, but no one knew the actual truth. However, Itachi knew deep down that he could never actually control Naruto. From a young age, Naruto proved to be something terrifying. And a lot of time has passed. Naruto was a very charming person, slipping into places, befriending people that has lived for a long time now. And they too saw it, his raw, overwhelming talent. Teachers that were supposed to be in their restful years helped him. To this day, Naruto could claim to be the student of around 10 different senseis, moving from place to place doing odd jobs to get money, to eventually becoming a hunter, hunting almost anything or anyone. Itachi was aware that Naruto was dabbling within the darkness, doing jobs that regular ninjas would not take. But Itachi didn't have anything to say to stop Naruto. Nothing at all. He didn't know what to do anymore because he felt the more time passed, the more a risk there was. And soon enough, the world will be aware of who he was, or perhaps the truth about everything. Itachi stood there gazing out towards the horizon. Time skip. Finally, she thought to herself. She was smiling. She was happy. Her name was Mito Uzumaki. Red hair, blue eyes, whisker marks. This was her first mission outside the village. However, when push came to shove, she froze. She psyched herself up so much time, but when it truly required it, she froze. However, she had her teammates. Sasuke Uchiha stopped the Demon Brothers with a kunai and shuriken, stopping them from striking Mito. She saw him as he shouted at her. "What the hell are you doing?" he said. She knew Sasuke rather well. Her confidence returned, removing her hand from her head that she used to cover herself. She held both hands out as chains. Shoot forward. The demon brother's eyes went wide. They immediately untouched, jumping away as Sakura Haruno jumped in front of the client. The demon brothers sprung around, but her chains rooted into the earth. They looked and waited for it to burst out beneath them, but it did not. They dashed forward to end her and the other. That is when the chain erupted in front of her, slowing them down as Sasuke grabbed one. He spun and delivered a brutal kick, knocking Miyaizo back. Gozu turned as Mito jumped. She punched after him, but it was a distraction as her chain wrapped around his leg, snaking around his arm that he used to try and stab her with the gauntlet. Too slow, she said. She uppercut the man, knocking him down. And this was Team 7. Mito Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno, guided by the one and only Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. Time skip. Naruto walked through. As he gazed around at the people, seeing the state that they were in, he started to go around collecting information. Everyone was hesitant, dressed in a brown robe, moving around like a local, but they ought to know who everyone were by now. But he was just passing through. The place was short on funds. Everything he could see from the people, the beggars. He was well aware that Gateau was involved in their downfall. Unfortunately though, there were 6 different islands around. He will have to search them all to find... What's that? He turned, his blonde hair swaying to the side. As he saw them, Kakashi Hatake, who was being helped by none other than Tazuna after his furious battle with Zabuza, turned his head to the side. But there was no one there. He could have sworn that he saw something a moment ago, but there was nothing there. Above, on one of the many roofs Naruto gazed down towards Team 7, he was stunned. Of all the places, of all the people, the last visual he had on her, the last visual was her as a child in the academy, much younger, where Itachi watched her and his brother and the other children. But the marks were a dead giveaway, and Sasuke proudly displaying the Uchiha crest on the back of his shirt. Together, they were on the same team. Naruto's mind went to Itachi. There are many conversations about his identity being revealed. Naruto figured that it was best to not go to Konoha because he wasn't like Itachi. He would kill this Danzo Shimura without hesitation, and all of the others that seek the Uchiha's downfall. However, Itachi made some good points. The bloodshed and destruction would just cause more harm. Naruto told himself that he's been on his own, and that was okay. Itachi checked in every now and again. He didn't want any more family. They were better off not knowing the truth. They were better off living their life not knowing the pain of the betrayal on both of their parents' side. They were all better off. Naruto thought to himself, yet the instinct, the feeling to know them was not leaving him anytime soon. Time skip. Mito found herself angry at herself. He was just a child. She exploded at Iniri. He spoke about them not understanding suffering. She hadn't had a good life. It wasn't that anyone hurt her, but they ignored her. Many of them pretended like she didn't exist. They looked at her with such a hateful gaze. It wasn't until recently that she found out. She told herself that she would gain their respect. She would become the one to guide and protect each and every one of them. She always kept a smile on her face, pushing away all the dark thoughts. She pushed them away constantly. She's made friends. Sasuke Uchiha has been her friend since the academy. When, unlike the other girls, she proudly declared that he was weak. Well, he wasn't, but she refused to fall under his spell like the other idiotic girls. And when she punched him across the face, that started something shocking. Well, for the Uchiha, given the reaction that he got from everyone else, most of the girls. But she was something different though. She forced herself time and time again to look past all the hate and simply look for something better. And it did happen. She was now on a team. She had friends, Sasuke and Sakura. Well, Sakura constantly believed that she liked Sasuke, but she had to tell her 1,000 times that she does not. They were just friends. However, Iniri words brought up some memories that she would rather have forgotten. She blew up on the child. She didn't mean to though. Hello there. She froze and spun around, taking very deep breaths. You scared me, she said. I didn't even hear anything, she thought to herself. Sorry about that. I was walking in the grass, he said to her. Oh, she said, looking down, realizing it would not make any noise. Who are you, she said. Just a passerby. I am curious, why are you out here all by yourself though? Just clearing my mind, she said. Something bad happened, he questioned. Well, it's nothing, she said, waving him off. Well, I have to get going, she said to him, as he gazed up towards her headband. Ah, you're one of those ninjas, he said to her. Yep, she said with a smile. I am Mito Uzumaki, ninja of the hidden leaf, she said proudly. Naruta's sweat dropped at her proudly declaring that. It seems that the leaf hadn't taught them how the world truly was. If he was an enemy, this would be the moment where he strikes. He smiled. You shouldn't really go around telling people that. Why? Because enemies can be anywhere, he said to her. She tilted her head. This world is a very dangerous place. If you're too innocent, bad things might happen. That is why I'm gonna change it. You're gonna what? Change it. I'm gonna bring peace all over the land, so people like you don't have to worry about enemies anywhere. And that's a promise I make to you today, she said, thumping her chest, proudly declaring that she would be the Hokage. And as the Hokage, she would make all wars come to a stop. Seeing her determination burning brightly, Naruto smiled, proud, happy. Despite her dream sounding so unrealistic, he felt like she truly believed it, and that made him happy, that she was happy. Well, I hope your dream does come through. Thanks, mister. Hey, what's your name, she said. Naruto, he said. Naruto Oda. Well, Naruto Oda, you will see me soon enough all over the place. My name, that is. Bye now, she said. He could have lied, he could have said anything else, but instead, he gave her his true name as he watched his younger sister fled. He couldn't lie to her, he thought to himself, smiling as she left, the pure innocence. Naruto was upset now. Another reason why he didn't want to meet her or be a part of their life. He found himself too encroached with the idea of family, connections. It was hard. Sometimes it seemed easy, but it was hard, everlasting. relationship, long-lasting, deep, full connections between people. The thought of losing people always horrified him. It went back to his trauma of watching his adoptive parents slaughter in front of his eyes, and instead of fighting, running away. And now, his desire to see her and Sasuke safe and protected. Itachi words enter his mind. Subconsciously though, his eyes just activated on their own. Itachi words knocking out of his mind a moment later. He has to do something. To them he was a stranger. To them he was nobody. They did not even know their own connection because of him. And here he was about to walk away from his brother and sister. No. He told himself. Itachi was going to be pissed, but it doesn't matter. He made his way off. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you enjoyed this and you want to see part 2, just go ahead and tell me, and I'll be posting as soon as possible. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.